With Utah on the way, it is more important than ever that we stockpile as many cubes as possible. So I'm going to be giving you guys some of the tips that I have for you guys when it comes to getting as many as possible throughout the game. And some of that's going to be code, some of that's just going to be general tips in terms of where you can find a bunch of them, like rank, for example, will give you a good bit and more. So I hope you guys enjoy the video. Make sure you subscribe. About 80% of viewers are not subscribed, so make sure you do. Also, post down below your code so people can add you and help you out with getting the, so you guys can help each other basically with getting the friend missions as well. So I'll start there. So long story short, by inputting the code that you either see on the screen or that you can find in the comments or from a friend that plays the game, that's really what this is for. You can help each other by getting these extra cubes. So up to 6,000. Basically, you sign up, you get a quick 1,000 whenever you put somebody's ID in, and all these missions are completed. So in order to do that, you input the code right here. And I can't do it, but you can do it on yours if you haven't done it already. And again, you'll get a quick 1,000, and then the missions will also be completed as people input your code as well in their game. So that is one of the primary ways to get a bunch quickly. So speaking of a bunch quickly, this next tip is specifically for the global launch. This may not be the case if you watch this video down the line. The rewards will be different, but for pre-registration off the jump, we started off with a bunch of freebies. So I want to kind of just show you what that looks like. So from the jump, we started off with 7,000. So here's that 7,500 from pre-registration, right? And then also there's a ticket here, but also another thing that they've been doing is every single day for logging in, they've been giving out like 300 or things like that as part of the launch celebration. So you guys should have a good bit from making sure that you're logging in as well. There also a couple of days ago was 3,000 that they gave out. I'm not seeing it, but again, that was part of this launch that we had, you know, I think a lot of downloads or something like that. And they gave out 3,000 right here. Ranked among the top is what it is. So that's a flat 10,000 quickly. And then if you are including the friend invite, that is at least another 1,000 just for inputting a code. And then obviously people will gradually help you complete the other rest of that cubes, or the rest of the cubes there. So outside of that, this is where the main crux of the game is. And I've got to say that codes are going to help you every now and again because they do drop codes. At least they have been pretty consistently. It's just that all the codes don't always have cubes in them or things like that. They'll have other resources like, you know, advancement stuff, things that you need for your characters, etc. And before it expires, there is a code specifically that I'd like to point out to you for a free 300. And that's going to be the code JJK 2024. So JJK 2024. So you guys can input that and it'll give you 300 cubes as well. All right, so let's go ahead and proceed from here. So the first thing I want to tell you about the actual in-game is that there is a lot of cubes, as you can imagine, from completing different story-based content. So firstly, I don't have it here, but simply by reaching, I think, chapter 7, you get a free 1,500 cubes. And obviously in the process of clearing these stages, you're getting the rewards here. And I believe there's also a mission tie-in as well. We can see that here as well. There's a mission tie-in for completing these two, so another 30, and you'll get that each time. Then whenever you complete all quests of a chapter, you get 30 as well. So you obviously want to make sure that you're completing all the stages as they pop up for you, because you're getting nearly 100 for completing them. That is a good bit. Obviously it adds up pretty quickly, which is why I'm at 22,000 right now, with I think majority of that, like 95% of that, being free. Moving on from there, I want to talk about rank, and we'll kind of bounce around a decent bit. But speaking of bounce around, make sure you don't bounce around and you stay subscribed to the channel for more content like this going forward. And if you have any other tips for new players, post down below. I will also be doing a video where I just talk about general tips, so stay tuned for that, where I talk about things I wish I knew when I started, etc. One of the big ones is like, hey, don't put everything into Gojo. He's great, but you need to have other characters on your team. Otherwise, you're going to be running into the issue with, you know, the 7-turn limit. There's going to be a bunch of things there. So character missions are completed by taking a character into, I think, into the dispatch mode. And other than that, by completing the actual character missions associated with the character. So right here, as you see, with Yuji's here, you can raise a character rank of an Itadori Yuji to level 20, so on and so forth. Raise the grade. Just working on the characters themselves will get that done for you. More characters, like if you have multiple copies of Yuji, that does help as well. But let's go ahead and just kind of see some of the rewards that are associated with one. So here's Nanami here, and I have been working with this SR Nanami for a while, and we're gonna get a bunch of rewards here. So It's not all cubes, but we did get a flat 140 cubes here. That's pretty great, just for basically rewarding me for playing with the character, which are working on the character to play with them, which is what I would do anyway. There are other benefits of this too. As you guys are going to see here, there are stat gains and voices that you can have that you pick up as well for these characters. So you definitely want to make sure that you're doing that as well. Also, don't sleep on the side stories here. It's another way for you guys to get some pretty consistent, well, I don't want to say like super consistent because obviously they'll dry up, but it's another way for you to get these as well here. So again, this is just in the side story area. You can get some there. Also, you can get some from the battle pass. The bottom row does require you to actually purchase this, but on the battle pass, there are going to be several hundreds you can obtain for free, obviously, completely. But again, if you do purchase it, you get access to the extra bonus missions here too. So they're really trying to incentivize purchasing it. But regardless, you can get some here. It's just not going to be as much as if you were to pay for it. And unless I'm forgetting something, that's mostly it. That's mostly it. But what's going to happen is as you're playing through most of the game, you're going to find first time stages, for example, like these cursed object stages. Obviously, these will drop some for you on your first clear, things like that. There are probably going to be missions tied to some of these. But again, speaking of missions, the most important thing early on, especially, is the story. Because like I said, all the different cubes you can obtain through completing the story stages. And honestly, the funny thing about the story is so much of the story is just literally story. You don't have to really interact with it. You could get in here and skip if you really wanted to do that. You don't have to interact all too much. Most of it is just that, and you still get the rewards for it, so it's pretty great. And the main reason why also story should be your primary objective also excuse me, is that completing story also unlocks the other pieces of the game and helps you just overall progress. It's just like the #1 priority. So getting cubes here is a little bit of a byproduct of it, but really my main thing is that there's just so many cubes available in the extra pieces of content, like whether it's going to be codes, etc. Also, if you did the early gacha thing, you can claim a one-time, I think up to 1,000 cubes as well from the web browser, the early gacha thing that's been down there. So you can claim one item, one character, and one recollection, and the item is going to be cubes. I don't know if it's 1,000, but it's definitely 900 at least. I've seen 900 as the number that I have. I haven't claimed it yet, but you can do that too for the free extra bonus. I'll leave a link to the website down below. Although in the future, I don't know when they'll close that site down or what they're doing with that. I don't know. But if anybody does know, of course, post down below. But that's mostly it. I'm going to see if I find anything else here before I let you on your way. I guess you can also get them in here sporadically as you go. See, there was 30 right there, but I mean, this is kind of a minor thing. It's also something that's only available from when you first start your account for the first 7 days. This one also kind of went a little bit over my head because it's already passed. But anyway, you can get a decent bit of cubes from playing the event, which I already knew you could do it from, like, you know, other means. But playing the event will give you a decent bit. As you see, resetting the prize pool a few times is one of the ways you can get 150 cubes there. By clearing the stage on very hard, you can get 150 there, which, I mean, that may or may not be something most people are able to do before this event leaves. But just take this as a means of just in general, when an event is here, completing the event missions is obviously a big way. See, there's a bunch of drops already right here, and they're also accompanied by resources for the event and with the tickets. So there's a number of ways you can get it just associated with the event too. So there, it looks like, what is this? 150, 300, 600. Okay, so just over 1,000 available here, so that's pretty great. Again, associated with the tickets too, so there's a ton of cubes in these events. They'll be up every 2 weeks, so you can definitely make sure that you are able to do those as well. But it does look like the primary way is story. I asked Zenrot, and I'm waiting on a message back to see if there's anything I missed, but it does look like the primary way is story. But assuming that is the case, that does have me a little bit worried for how many cubes you'll be getting in the future, unless they consistently put out codes with cubes. It's one thing to give codes, but if they don't have cubes, then obviously that's not really solving that specific problem. But the good news is with this game is, regardless of how many cubes you actually get, the game does have great longevity with its characters. I mean, the Japanese version is about to hit 1 year this month, and Gojo is still one of the best characters. The best supports in this version of the game are still the best supports largely over there. It's got great longevity, and we are very far, a year behind in the pool, so that should tell you everything you need to know overall. But if there's anything else that he messages me that I forgot, like for example, if it's this event that I don't have unlocked, for example, that's like a tower style, I'll probably put that down below. But Yeah, I think that the primary way, aside from that, because obviously story dries up, I think the primary way otherwise would just be to work on your characters. Like you saw, I got 140 there, but this is something that's pretty long term, something that's going to take a while. You'll get these kind of passively. You also can do the thing where you save them, don't claim them, you get them whenever you're ready. But just keep an eye towards that, because if you wanted to know the characters that are coming out besides Yuta, because there's a number, like for example, a few weeks after Yuta, there's a really big character. A couple weeks after that, there's another really big character. So if you guys want to know those characters that you should be focusing on, and this will give you insight as to whether or not you should be going pretty crazy to start the game on YouTube. But again, like I said, great longevity in the game with the characters, so keep that in mind too. But regardless, if you want to know those characters, you can click on the video on the screen right now before you go, and I'll see you over there.